Students, in lesson 5.4, we are going to be exploring division of decimals by whole numbers. Let's start on the right-hand side of the page in this blue box where it says how many swimmers are part of the relay team. That's something we're going to want to keep in mind when we read the problem. Now, our essential question for today's class is, how can you divide decimals by whole numbers? So your purpose for learning at the end of the lesson, you want to be able to say, I can divide decimals by whole numbers. So let's start off at the top of the problem. In a swimming relay, each swimmer swims an equal part of the total distance. Brianna and 3 other swimmers won a relay in 5 and 68 minutes. What is the average time each girl swam? Well, we know, let's right off the back, make sure we keep in mind that there are 4 girls on the team. This kind of could be tricky a little bit because we know there's Brianna and 3 other girls, but we have to keep that in mind. Also, boys and girls, when it says average, we need to know that it's about how much each girl swam, which means that some girl might swim faster, some girl might swim a little bit slower, but in general, it's the average. So we're going to start with there are 4 swimmers, because Brianna plus her 3 friends would be 4 swimmers. So we're going to start with the unlock the problem. One way we can do this is we can use place value. So we see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups to represent the 4 girls, and then we've modeled the 5 and 6/10 and 8/100. So what we did, boys and girls, we checked to make sure that we put them in their appropriate place. So we took 1, we put it where we see this 1. We took another one, put that there. Took another one, put that in that group. Took another one, put that in that group. Boys and girls, we see we could not do that. So what we did was we trade this 1 for 10 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now we can see that we share the tens. Take a 10, write it. 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 And as you see, boys and girls, they kept doing this as they went through all of the tenths. I should be clear to say I should say tenths. And then they shared, after the tenths, they shared the ones. So they took, not the ones, I'm sorry, hundreds. Hundreds, shared it there. Hundreds, shared it there. Hundreds, shared it there. Hundreds, shared it there. And they kept doing that until they ran out of the hundreds. So you see, boys and girls, that the answer, if we just looked at one of these groups, we could see that the answer is 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths, and 2 hundredths. But boys and girls, we also need to learn how to think about and record this using long division. So what we're going to do is we're going to share the ones. So we have 5 ones, boys and girls, divided by 4 is 1. Now we're going to multiply. 4 times 1 is 4. We subtract 5 ones minus 4 ones, and we get 1 ones. It says check. 1 ones cannot be shared among 4 groups. And we saw that. That was what we had to regroup. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to regroup in our next step. So in our next step, when we regroup, boys and girls, we bring down the 6 and we have 16. So now, boys and girls, we are going to divide 16 tenths by 4. We can think to ourselves would be what number? That's correct, 4. So we place that in the tenths place. 4 times 4 is 16. We subtract 16 tenths from 16 tenths, and we check. 0 tenths, boys and girls, cannot be shared among 0 groups, so we regroup again. So, boys and girls, what we see we have here so far is our last one, which we have is 8. So now, boys and girls, we're going to divide. 8 hundredths divided by 4 is going to give us 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So, boys and girls, again, we subtract 8 hundredths minus 8 hundredths, and we get 0 hundredths. And it cannot be shared equally among 4 groups. Also, boys and girls, it's really important that you're placing the decimal point in the product right off the back, just to make sure that you're separating the tens from the ones. So our answer here indeed is 1 and 42 hundredths, and we see that there's the same amount that we do in our correct picture. Now, boys and girls, we're going to learn another strategy for solving this problem, and another strategy is an estimate. So what we're going to do is we are going to divide as we would with whole numbers. So we're going to divide $40.89 by 47. We're going to estimate the quotient, which we know is the answer, as 4,000 hundredths divided by 50, because those are compatible numbers. So we took and we looked at this number and we saw, well, 4,800 is pretty close to 4,000. And then we said 47 is pretty close to 50. And we know that our multiples of 5, one of the answers is 40, because we know that 5 times a number was equal to 40. That number would in fact be 8. And we could use those compatible numbers to build up to our larger sentence, which was, I'm going to erase this and put this on the side. 4,000 hundredths divided by 50, which would give us 80 hundredths. Now remember, using your multiplication chart is a good idea. The dividend, the thing that we're dividing up, is always going to be the product in the multiplication problem if you're using inverse operations. So now we're going to divide the tens. It says divide the hundredths. When the remainder is 0, there are no more digits in the dividend, and the division is complete. So what we're going to do is we used our estimate. Our estimate, boys and girls, was 8. Because this compatible number estimate was 8, we wanted to try that out here. So we know that 8 times 47 would give us 376. And now we're going to subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. We can't do 0 minus 10, so we're going to regroup from the 3. 10 minus 7 is 3. And now, boys and girls, we have 32. We know we can't make 32 into groups of 47, so we're going to regroup and bring down the 9. So, boys and girls, we say to ourselves, well, 7 times 47 will give us 329. If we subtract that, we get zeros left over. It says use your estimate, place the decimal point, and to place the 0 to show there are. So when you get $40.89 divided by 47, we can see that our answer is about 87 cents. So now, boys and girls, it says explain how you use the estimate to place a decimal point in the quotient. So what we can say is, since the estimate was 80 hundredths, which we know we write like this, or 80 cents we can say, I know the decimal has to be placed to the left of the 8 in the quotient. This way is a little bit challenging, boys and girls, so make sure you take some extra time with this and pause the video and ask any clarifying questions. So now, boys and girls, what we're going to do is we're going to try to do our division. We can use multiplication to check our work. So we're going to say to ourselves, right off the back, place the decimal. Can you take 79 and make it into groups of 3? Yes, 3 groups. 3 times 23 is 69. 9 minus 9 is 0. 7 minus 6 is 1. Can you make 10 into groups of 23? No. So what we do, boys and girls, is we regroup and we have 103. 103 divided by 23, boys and girls, would be 4. 4 times 23 is 92. We subtract 3 minus 2 is 1. 10 minus 9 is 1. Can you make 11 into groups of 23? No, so we have to regroup, and we have 115. 115 divided by 23 would be 5. 5 times 23 would be 115. There's no remainder. So now to check our answer, boys and girls, we're going to take our quotient, and it's going to become a product. So we're going to treat our decimal like it's a whole number. 5 times 3 is 15. Regroup the 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus regroup 1 is 13. Regroup the next one. 3 times 3 is 9, plus the regroup 1 is 10. Now, boys and girls, remember, we multiplied out the ones column, so we're really saying 10, boys and girls, times 5. 10 times 5 is 100. Regroup the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus regroup 1 is 9. 3 times 2 is 6. Now we add our partial products. 5 plus 0 is 5. 3 plus 0 is 3. 0 plus 9 is 9. And 1 plus 6 is 7. Do we fact, and boys and girls, keep in mind, 2 decimal places in the fractor, meaning that we moved 2 decimal places in the product. Is our product the original dividend? Yes, it is indeed. So we know our multiplication, checked our answer, and our division was correct. So remember, in this lesson, we used estimation, and we also use place value to help us solve division problems when dividing by a whole number.